Hello and welcome, as it is the 26th day of December 2018. My name is Derek. Welcome to the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades of the like, within one's each own risk and their own reward. As we'll start off with the Dow Jones before venturing into cryptocurrencies. As today's session had a very interesting day, gaining 1,020 basis points, or 4 2/3%. Meanwhile, the price stays well below the 18 average of lows, let alone where the 18 average of highs happens to be. This might be nominally the best gain that the Dow Jones has ever seen, but the key word to that is nominally, not. And there's a couple reasons where I seen a much better rally in 2008, and albeit that was in a bear market, that was in the lower end of a bear market. This one here has just broken down this key level of support in the 23ish or so area. So it would be starting to break down if that's what the Dow is doing. Very hard to trust these bear market rallies, especially in the earlier stages of the bear market. But the biggest update that I can remember was almost 1,000 points, but that was when the Dow Jones was 8,000 area. That would have occurred at the middle part of October, because on October the 10th of that year, which was a day when the Dow Jones had a decline of, let's just do it so I can read it on top, a decline of only 1.3%, which the day before it was 7.4. But on that day, the market went down to about 7,800, closing at about 84. And I can remember the intraday movement like it was yesterday, because it went down right from the start. It took about a half hour to hit these lows. And I was able to sell my short banking ETF at about Dow 8,000 at the time. Then the market rallied up, came back down, and it rallied up. It had an intraday double bottom. And then it followed through on the next Monday, as this was on a Friday, and it had a complete rise up day, up 925 points. And it was already up several points from the close, the last hour of the day from the Friday. And then it opened the next day, rallying up towards the 9,800. So at that point, it was not up 1,000 points on this day, but the Dow Jones was a third of its value, so up 11%. And then from the lows to this high, so it was just an hour plus a day plus maybe another hour, so a little more than one day and much less than two. We've seen the market go up about close to 2,000, 1,800 or so, 79. Yeah, about 1,900 basis points. And at that level, that would have been about 20+%. But meanwhile, it was doing such in a bear market, especially in the stock market. The more sharpest rallies is going to occur within such. I'm going to push this button, and this is going to make all of the periods fast forward to now. There we go. When we take a look at this move that's happening on the Dow, this move occurred pretty much at the same area of this support level here in the second week of September. The green line here, which is where current price action would be on the third week of October. So it was about 5 weeks that it took to grind its way higher with barely any corrections at all. This was the only one in here. So in bull markets, at least for the Dow, it does more of grinding its way up and even straight up, which was the case in here. And when you have the bull markets, these rallies can be quite interesting. All right, so let's move on to cryptocurrencies. As Bitcoin has had its last big fall from a 6,300 congestion area, falling down to 31 change, has established a multiple hit resistance level at 41 2/3. And after a decent red candle down day on Christmas, it has just been holding in there thus far. So it's in the correctionary move. So as far as reversal of trend, the first stage that I'm looking for is for the band to flatten out. That was a one-day event on December 17th, since it was able to go straight up and then accelerate further thereafter. It established its resistance 3 days after the flattening. It has now came back to its correctionary move within the newly rising 18. And until this 18 average can do something to show failure, which is this flattening out and then price declining below, then the test within this correction is in place. So it could take days, it could finish at any time. It's almost like when you're writing a test, sometimes you can speed through it and get it done quick. In the sense here, this could, of course, it's now been 2 days, so it's not too quick now. Regardless of when it breaks above this, then I'd be looking for a decent size leg higher, at least one for that matter. But over this situation in here, whenever I have a spot where I break a major key level, which is a Fibonacci level as well, and you come up to it, if it's going to make any type of decent rally, that's usually an area I would expect as a level of possible resistance. It's both bullish and bearish for there to be resistance there, meaning it's bullish, of course, to go there, come back down, and go higher. And of course, it's bearish to resist something, because that's what bear markets do, is resist highs. And there's a lot of people that will say that technical analysis doesn't work, and I really don't have much to say to them other than you really don't understand, for it's not the easiest of things to understand. And I only stated one altcoin today that I thought could really have a good day, and that was Ethereum Classic, and it had a good day. It was up 15 and a third percent. It's continuing its gains so far, up an additional 1.2% on top of those gains, as it managed to break by the level of resistance not only at 1262, but the established resistance on this day at 1314. Where did it come to? Well, where's the key previous resistance level? That would be the first stop. So as far as technical analysis, not only was this able to tell the one thing, that it had a good mathematical chance of breaking out. That's what it comes down to. Finding probable chances much more in your favor, which is what Ethereum Classic presented today. It also tells you consistent areas where you should at least expect it to go to. As by knowing such, selling in this little area here, well, that just, to me, is not that smart of a play. Because if you know it's going to break it, well, you should at least go to where it has already went to now. So therefore, this would be, to me, general areas where I would consider start selling within this market. When it comes down to this on the weekly term time frame, it has also managed to go to a key point in the 18 average of highs, after it has been steadily declining for every single period since it fell through, since August of this year. So now this would be enough to at least make the 18 average go flat, as long as it can hold the 18 average of lows area. That's in around the 1232 handle right now within this. So when looking at this move, where do I see it need to hold? Well, this key little area here, and piercing below 1232 to 12 is all normal business. So holding this 12 handle to me becomes very, very important. If it is able to continue further, then you would have to give it the benefit of the doubt for even much higher gains. One thing of stating again, looking at the daily, when you're not getting resistance where you're supposed to, now we're supposed to amongst this area as its previous resistance. It's a decent sized leg lower from where the last key previous high happened to be. So if you don't get resistance there, well, then you should go to next key level. And when you look at this just via the weekly term, we can see that breaking it above the 18 average of highs, and we've seen it so often, it can have decent sized moves. And the last key area where it came from would be generally amongst this area in here. So if it doesn't resist now, I think this has got the potential to keep on going for another 30 or so % gain until the next level of resistance. And now let's take a look at the next coin, as this one here has just started to break out, looking good to go. That is LSK, or LISK. It too has been in a downtrend like almost every altcoin, as we can see on the weekly chart. But what do we see here on the daily? It's a nice little setup. So there we have the band flattening out stage after this last leg lower that it had. and it managed to make a move here. You break the 18 average of highs, and like I stated with ETC, when you break it, you can oftentimes have a good gain, thus establishing a level of resistance. There's your established resistance, comes back down to the 18 average, and it settles in there very nicely, setting up this good pattern which has just broken out today. And now that's done that, I'm expecting this market short term to make a move up to this previous high. I'm also now looking short term for this area, most likely to be an area for support on the shorter term time frame. And I'm going to remove all these drawing tools, but the general area for support, as I state, as we can see here, is this this level here. And again, this move has just happened this hour. We're only 23 minutes in. As we can see, decent size green candle up. You break a key level, you have a fast move. That is very normal within these markets. There we see it again on the 15-minute time frame. You chop around here for the better part of a couple hours or so, and then when it's going to make its move, it's going to do it really fast. We can see it took 2 5-minute candles to get up to that level, so under 10 minutes. We can see it took 2 1-minute candles to make it to that level, so under 2 minutes of time frame to do such. It could have been, when you look at this and you don't know, this could have happened in like 20 seconds, because this could have started at like 15 seconds to the top of the hour, and then the first 5 seconds of the next period it could have went up, maybe back up again, but most likely it would have taken about 100 seconds for a move to go from the 38 handle to the 40 handle. That's only about 5-6%. So far, very short term, we can see how it has established a nice level of support right in here. So it's had this early move. It has established this level of resistance as well. Within this 18 average in here, nice 5 periods showing a successful consolidation. We're watching this right now tick a little bit up, a little bit, showing that it's possibly ready to get going. And as I'm doing this right now, which means on the 15-minute time frame, we could just have continuation amongst such. And as I see this breakout, I'm expecting this market to have a resistance test at its previous high. It's not there yet. And this play, of course, is still live on the market status of breaking out of this potential resistance and trying to turn this into that of a bear market. What it comes down to it is holding the key level. So after it had this move, this is that spot here, this is the 18, so far successfully done. And now that it's going to break out even higher, I'm going to upgrade that level to here, which is this short-term level, and really this exact high in here. So instead of me wanting to see it in the area of holding around 3,600 low change, I'm going to want to see it hold at around 37 high change instead. And finally, let's talk about Komodo, which came up on December the 2nd to this level of resistance, successfully correcting within the 18. It kept the 18 average of lows supported very well, and then it got above, retesting previous high again on December 20th. And since then, what it has done, it has basically found support at this previous level of resistance in here, which is around the 1730 handle. It has shown strength amongst the 18 average of high, so it was looking really, really good on the winter solstice, December 21st, 22nd. It's been about 5 days or so since then, but the pattern still remains the same, that we have nice little setup. It's showing the strength, and to me, this thing looks ready to pop any time, but it's been that way for quite some time, or since December the 20th, when it broke out from the correctionary move. So something I think definitely worth keeping an eye on. And a weekly time frame, all it has done so far is keep things in a neutral state after this last decline. These lines to me represent where my buy and sell orders happen to be amongst one of my methods of trading. And I realized that after it breaks this range, and I see the range basically is from the 14 low change up to about the 22 high, that it's going to probably have a significant move. So if it breaks the resistance range, then 31. So long-term trading, Why are you selling at 25 and 26 and 27.30? I mean, 27.30 is where I would start to consider it, but not really, because I'd start considering around 29 a quarter. I'd even consider you could even wait up to 34, 35 if you're looking to sell upon what a leg higher would be, because of the fact when you break a key level, you usually not only have a fast move up, but if you're just looking to make trades, it's whether it's fast, slow, or medium time, it's most likely going to have a decent leg higher. And of course, to me, that conservative one would be around close to 3,000 or 30,000, or the 30 handle, which is a decent sized gain from where it starts or where it stands now. And then, of course, breaking support, you would expect a decent sized leg lower. So therefore, you look at this and say maybe somewhere around the 10 handle even, if it breaks down below support, or you could very easily lose close to 50% from where it stands, as these cryptos do more often, and oftentimes lose half of its value over and over again. Keyword again, lose half again, lose half again. And then all of a sudden the market just does the 2x moves over and over again, which a 2x move is the polar opposite to a 50% decline. But normally speaking, in cryptos, when you have the gains, they are going to go up a lot faster than they go down. We can see that from where we stand right now, which is around this level here, from this high on April the 30th, it took to like July the 30th to get to this area, even July 23rd. So it took about April, May, June, July, so 3 months to go down to this point. So how long would it take to get that back? Well, much faster, 3 weeks, maybe 3 days. And the way these markets go, 3 hours and even 3 minutes doesn't surprise me, although 3 minutes is extreme. But 3 hours to go up from like 18 to 31, it's like, yeah, I've seen that happen before. So that really isn't much of a surprise. And I fully expect that when it has its move, it's always going to be faster to the upside crossed against Bitcoin than it will be going to the downside. So I'd like to thank you for tuning in to this evening's video, and I'll be back with you again for the Thursday session. Bye-bye.